Today is the very auspicious day. We are assembled here to listen a learned person who is not only famous in India, but he is so much famous in outside India also. He is no other than the Professor Ajit Kumar Behura. Now he presently is working as the head of department philosophy in the Dhanbad IIT. So I am requesting Professor Behera to present his learned speech. Professor Behera.
Respected Shashibhushan Mishra sir, all the dignitaries of the institute, all the learned persons, scholars, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to speak on the topic Karma Yoga of Bhagavad Gita, an analysis from socio-scientific perspective. I repeat again, the topic of the talk will be Karma Yoga of Bhagavad Gita, an analysis from socio-scientific perspective. Now, you all are from such a good university with a lot more experience about the subject, good ideas about these things. And I will just try my best what more I can add into the existing knowledge. And so before going into that, I will request all my friends to kindly mute the mic so that it would be easy for us to discuss the entire thing. Okay. Now, wherever there is any clarification is required, kindly ask me so that we will discuss about the entire thing. Now, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, is a sacred Hindu scripture which holds profound philosophical teachings, which has around 724 verses, text that is part of this great Mahabharata. So Bhagavad Gita is actually a dialogue between Prince Arjuna and the Lord Krishna and his spiritual guide. This philosophical conversation actually takes place in the field of Kurukshetra before the starting of this war. And actually this Bhagavad Gita encompasses various aspects of life, including ethics, spirituality, righteousness, self-realization, and of course the nature of reality. It actually provides guidance on how one should live meaningfully and have a purposeful life, addressing the challenges, dilemmas that individuals often face in their life, and to attain a kind of spiritual enlightenment, emphasizing the significance of the self-discipline, devotion, knowledge, etc. It offers a valuable insight and the principles that can be applied in our own personal life and in education also. Okay, please come. Just a minute. Just a minute. Thank you. And it has Actually, Bhagavad Gita has various aspects, if we can categorize. It has metaphysical, axiological, even epistemological aspects. The metaphysical concepts presented in the Gita discusses about the nature of the self, the universe, and the supreme reality. Axiologically also, the text emphasizes the principles of duty, detachment, selfless actions. Knowledge-wise or epistemologically, it presents the path of knowledge through self-knowledge, devotion, action, and meditation. And this philosophy actually helps for an holistic development in the individual, self-realization, moral values, and integration of the knowledge and the actions. All those things are there. Okay. And now, what is this philosophy and how the Karma Yoga is important is something what we are going to study from a socio-scientific perspective. Now, so Bhagavad Gita actually stands as a beacon of wisdom, as we have discussed, and it reveals across the cultures and the centuries for its profound teaching that transcends these boundaries of time, culture, and the creed. It is useful everywhere, any culture, anyone, irrespective of their religion. If he follows that, he thinks he can realize what a profound book it is. At the heart of this sacred scripture lies the concept of Karma Yoga, a path of selfless actions and the service to resonate deeply within the human spirit. In a world characterized by the rapid globalization, interconnectedness, these principles of Karma Yoga offers an invaluable guidance for navigating these complexities of this modern life with grace and purpose. By eliminating the selfless, and detachment from the fruits of our actions, individuals can transcend the limits of ego and cultivate these mindsets of generosity, compassion, and empathy. In embodying the spirits of Karma Yoga, we recognize the inherent unity that binds us together as human beings and indeed part of the greater cosmic tapestry. This recognition inspires us to act with integrity, kindness, and respect towards all the beings, fostering a more harmonious and compassionate world for the present and the future generations. So let us embark on this journey together, drawing wisdoms from these timeless teachings of Bhagavad Gita, applying them to create a more just, equitable, interconnected global community. And let us see how this Karma Yoga is there, or the principles of Karma Yoga, and its use in our life. Consider the role of, now let us give an example, okay? And take into consideration the role of a teacher in a school. According to this Karma Yoga, the teacher's duty is not just to impart knowledge for this personal gain or to recognition, but to serve the students and the society selflessly without attachment to the outcome of their actions and all. A teacher practicing Karma Yoga approaches their role with a sense of duty and responsibility towards their students and this community. They dedicate themselves wholeheartedly to the task of educating nurturing these young minds, not for the personal accolades or material gain for their personal things, but rather to understand the importance of their role in shaping the future generations. Okay. So the teacher plans engaging lessons and spends extra time with struggling students, provide guidance, support beyond the classroom. Okay. So they do not because they expect, no, actually they do so not because they expect guide and prize, but because they believe in the intrinsic values of their actions and the positive impact it will have on the society. So it is not only their salary, monthly salary, but take and the money what they expect. Rather, it has they understand there is a basic intrinsic value behind their actions and its impact on the entire socio environment. And now let us consider these aspects of detachment from the fruits of one's actions. Despite their best efforts, the teacher may encounter challenges such as students who struggle to grasp the concepts or the external factors that hinder academic progress. However, the teacher remains steadfast in their commitment to understanding that they can control only their actions, not their outcomes. So instead of becoming, is heartened by the setbacks, the external conditions, so the teacher focuses continuously on improving their teaching methods and providing supports to their students to the best of their ability. So they derive satisfaction not from the academic achievements of their students alone, but from the knowledge that they have fulfilled their duty with sincerity and dedication. And furthermore, Karma Yoga teaches us to recognize that every individual has a unique role to play in the grand scheme of this universe. In the context of education, with that teacher plays a significant role, they also acknowledge the contributions of their parents, colleagues, administrators, society as a whole in a holistic development of the students. So by embodying the principle of Karma Yoga, the teacher becomes a paradigm of selfless service, inspiring others to follow it. So through their actions, they contribute to the greater good of the society by nurturing the responsible citizens who are not only the academically competent, but also a compassionate and socially aware individuals. In essence, the example of the teacher illustrates how Karma Yoga encourages individuals to perform their duties with selfless and detachment and a sense of purpose, thereby fostering the personal growth and contribution to the betterment of the society. Now, let us go a little deep into the socio-scientific perspective of Karma Yoga and its role in fostering a harmony and cooperation within the society. Now, the first thing is it promotes a kind and altruism in the being and in the society. From a socio-scientific point of view, human behavior is often analyzed through the lenses of evolutionary psychology and social neurosciences. While self-interest is indeed a fundamental aspect of the human nature, studies have also shown that altruism and cooperation are deeply ingrained within us. Karma Yoga taps into these inner aspects of human psychology by encouraging individuals to transcend their self-interest and prioritize the well-being of these others. Research in psychology suggests that acts of altruism and kindness not only benefits others, but also contribute to the psychological well-being of overall happiness of the individual performing them. For instance, evolutionary psychology poses the human behavior is shaped by the process of natural selection, thereby traits that increases the individual's chances of survival and reproductions are more likely to be passed on to the future generations. While self-interest and the completion may have evolutionary roots, research also suggests that the cooperation and altruism are deeply inbuilt within us. For example, studies have shown that humans have a very deep disposition towards the empathy and reciprocal behavior, which are essential for building this, maintaining the social bonds and the cohesive communities. And in real life examples are abound that demonstrate the inner tendency towards altruism and cooperation. Like for instance, the actions of the volunteers and the aided workers, those who selflessly dedicate their time and resources to helping others in need, whether in the response to the natural disasters, humanitarian crisis, the type of things what we have seen in Orissa cyclone in 1999, or the community projects also. These individuals often derive a sense of fulfillment and the purpose from which these altruistic acts contribute not only to the well-being of others, but also to their own psychological well-being and overall happiness. So the research in neuroscience has provided insights into these neural mechanisms underlying this altruism and empathy. Studies using this brain imaging techniques have shown that acts of kindness and generosity activities in the areas of the brain associated with reward processing and positive emotions. So this suggests that altruistic behavior may be inherent rewarding for the individuals, leading to increased feelings of happiness and fulfillment. In the context of Karma Yoga, individuals are encouraged to transcend their self-interest and prioritize the well-being of these others through the selfless actions and the services. By tapping into our inner capacity of empathy and altruism, Karma Yoga is not only fosters a harmonious social relationship, but also promotes a kind of psychological well-being and overall happiness. So the real-life examples of altruistic behavior align with this perspective, demonstrating that the act of kindness and generosity can bring profound joy and satisfactions, and to both the giver and to the receiver. And another point what Karma Yoga brings is the building a kind of social capital. The socio-scientific research has demonstrated the importance of the social capital, the networks of relationship and trust within a community in fostering the economic development, political stability, and overall societal well-being. Karma Yoga serves as a potential tool for building social capital by fostering the trust and cooperation and reciprocity among these individuals. So when the people engage in selfless actions of service and altruism, they strengthen these bonds within their communities and cultivate a sense of shared purpose and belongings. This actually in turn leads to the creation of the stronger social networks and enhances the resilience of these communities in the faces of these challenges. And similarly, you can see this concept of trusteeship as an advocated by Gandhi, which provides a compelling examples of how selfless actions and the services and altruism can strengthen these bonds within these communities and enhances their resilience in the face of these challenges. So Gandhi also believes in these principles of trusteeship within individuals, which holds this wealth and that resources not for a personal possession, but as a trust to the use for the benefit of the society. So Gandhian ideas of trusteeship is deeply rooted in the philosophy of Karma Yoga, where these individuals are encouraged to transcend their self-interest and prioritize the well-being of the others. By practicing this trusteeship, the individuals contribute to the welfare of their community and cultivate a sense of shared purpose and belongings. An example from Gandhiji's life that illustrates these principles of trusteeship in his approach to economic equality and social justice. Gandhi believes that wealth and resources should be distributed, equitably among all the members of the society. And there's those who possess wealth have a moral obligation to use it for the upliftment of this lesser fortunate. So Gandhi himself embodied these principles of trusteeship by living a simple and frugal lifestyle, despite having this means to live more luxuriously. He viewed himself as a trustee of the resources at his disposal, using them to support the various social causes, including education, healthcare, empowerment of marginalized communities. Even in the Upanishads, in Bhagavad Gita, in the Karma Yoga, in the sloka number 20th verse says the concept of Loka Sangraha. Trusteeship is also echoed in the idea of Loka Sangraha, which means this working for the welfare of the society. Upanishads emphasize the interconnectedness of all these beings, the importance of living in harmony with others. By practicing trusteeship and working for the collective welfare, individuals strengthen these bonds within these communities and contribute to the resilience of the society as a whole. And through their selfless acts of service and altruism, individuals inspired by the principles of trusteeship foster a sense of solidarity and cooperation within their communities. So by recognizing their interconnectedness and the working towards this common good, by creating a stronger social networks and enhance that resilience and their communities in the face of challenges, ultimately contribute to the well-being and, of course, the prosperity of all the members of the society. Okay. Now, Karma Yoga also addresses the social inequalities. In today's world, the social economic disparities continues to pose significant challenges to the social incoherence and the stability. Karma Yoga offers a paradigm shift is how to perceive and address these social inequalities by emphasizing the importance of this empathy, compassion, social responsibility. Karma Yoga actually encourages individuals to actively engage in efforts to elevate the sufferings and promote equality. So from the volunteering at the local charities to advocating for a systematic change, Karma Yogis work towards creating a more just and inclusive society where everyone has an opportunity to thrive. So an example from Indian classic epics that illustrates how the principles of Karma Yoga is addressed in the social inequalities and be found in the character of the Lord Rama from this Ramayana. Lord Rama, the protagonist of this epic Ramayana, exemplifies these qualities of empathy, compassion, social responsibility throughout this journey. One notable instance occurs during his exile in the forest, where he encounters various beings from the different walks of life, including sages, animals, and the tribal communities. During his exile, Lord Rama demonstrates a deep sense of empathy and compassion towards the beings regardless of their social status, even background. He listens to the grievances of this and the oppressed and the marginalized, offers help, support them to their need, and treat being with kindness and respect. One significant example is the Lord Rama's interaction with the Sabari, the elderly tribal woman who was waiting patiently for years to meet him. So despite her low social status, Lord Rama received Sabari with kindness and compassion, acknowledging her devotion and offering her with the blessings. So through this encounters, Lord Rama demonstrates that social status or the background should not be a barrier to compassion and empathy, and that everyone deserves to be treated as with dignity and respect. And furthermore, Lord Rama's commitments, to uphold this dharma means righteousness, and the justice throughout this Ramayana exemplifies his dedication to the social responsibility. He takes decisive actions to protect the rights of the oppressed, uphold the rules of the law, and ensure the well-being of all the beings under his care. Through the character of Lord Rama, Ramayana teaches an importance of empathy, compassion, and social responsibility in addressing the social inequalities by embodying the principles of Karma Yoga. Individuals can follow Lord Rama's examples, actively engaging in the efforts to elevate his suffering and create a more just, inclusive society for all. And you can also find similar things in the, in Charles Dickens, classical novel, A Tale of These Two Cities, and all. You can find, how the character of Hedness Caltron undergoes profound transformations and embodying these principles of empathy and compassion and social responsibility. And initially portrayed as a resolute and cynical individual, and Caltron mirrors that a karma yogi as he evolves from a self-interest to selfless actions. Okay. And the story actually unfolds. The cartoon becomes deeply moved by the suffering and injustice he witnessed in the society, particularly the plight of the downtrodden and the oppressed, rather than remaining passive and indifferent to the sufferings. Okay, so there are plenty of examples which can make such kind of activities and all. Okay, now by sacrificing. Another thing, what we can think, this karma yoga also fosters some kind of interconnectedness and the collective actions and all this. From a scientific perspective, systems theory, there is a theory called systems theory, which highlights the interconnected nature of these complex systems, which actions of these individual components influence the functions of this whole. Suppose anything goes wrong in my small finger, it will affect my entire body, even my mind, everything, all attention will go towards that. So effect will be. So it's a kind of, system where there is an interconnectedness of the nature of complex system. So actions of the individual components influence to the functions of the entire things. Okay. So similarly, Karma Yoga underscores the interconnectedness of all beings and the idea that every individual's actions have a ripple effect that impact the broader of the society. By promoting a sense of interconnectedness and collective responsibility, I repeat again, it's a sense of interconnectedness and the collective responsibility. Karma Yoga inspires individuals to, collective and work towards a common goal for a greater good. So this fosters a cultural and cooperative and collective actions, which is essential for addressing complex societal changes such as climate change, poverty, public health crisis, etc. So the system theory is scientific framework that studies the interconnectedness and behavior of a complex systems, provides valuable insights into the understanding and the principles of Karma Yoga. In system theory, the complex systems are viewed as a network of interconnected components where the behavior of each component influences the behavior of the whole system. The interconnectedness highlights how the actions at the individual level can have far-reaching consequences at the systematic level. Okay, and one scientific example that illustrates this interconnectedness is the phenomenon feedback loops in the ecosystem. In an ecological system, individual organizations, environmental factors interact in intricate ways, forming these feedbacks loops that regulate the balances of these ecosystems. For instance, consider the relationship between the predators and the prey populations and all. So the increase in the population of the predators may lead to the decrease in the population of the prey species, and which in turn affects the availability of the food of the predators, influencing their population dynamics. So the interconnectedness web of relationship demonstrates how the actions at the individual level, hunting behavior of the predators, can impact the functioning of this entire ecosystem. Similarly, the Karma Yoga emphasizes the interconnectedness of all the beings and the ideas that every individual actions which contribute to the collection of well-being of the society. So by promoting the sense of collective responsibility, Karma Yoga inspires individuals to collaborate and work towards a common good for the greater good. So this fosters a culture of cooperation and collective actions essential for addressing complex societal challenges. And for example, now consider the efforts on address the climate changes through the collective actions. Individuals, communities, governments, and the businesses all play a crucial role in mitigating the impacts of the climate changes by reducing the greenhouse gases emissions, transmission to the new renewable energy sources, adopting sustainable practices. Each individual's actions, whether it is using public transportation or reducing energy consumption, advocating for policy changes, contribute to the broader goals of this combating climate changes. This collective effort contributes to the principles of the Karma Yoga. where these individuals recognize their interconnectedness with the environment and they collaborate towards the shared vision of the sustainable future. Similarly, in addressing poverty and the public health crisis, collective actions is essential for implementing the effective solutions and creating a kind of positive societal change by fostering a sense of interconnectedness and collective responsibility. Karma Yoga inspires the individuals to work together towards building a resilient community and promoting a social justice and improving the well-being of all the members of the society. So in conclusion, the system theory provides a scientific basis for understanding the interconnected nature of these complex systems, while Karma Yoga offers a philosophical insight into the interconnected of all beings and importance of collective responsibility. Okay. In conclusion, from the socio-scientific perspective, Karma Yoga offers a valuable insights into the human behavior and societal dynamics. By promoting the selfless and altruism and interconnectedness, Karma Yoga serves as a guiding principle for fostering harmony, cooperation, and social cohesion within the society. And in today's fast-paced world, where individualism often reigns supreme, the teachings of the Karma Yoga provides a refreshing perspective and offers a practical solution for building a more compassionate and equitable and sustainable world. Now, let us consider, elaborate further on the concept of another thing which is there in Karma Yoga, the Niskama Karma. Niskama Karma within the framework of this Karma Yoga. And the first point is this: it is shifting focus from outcome to the process. Okay. From the outcome, from the end, from the consequentialistic approach to a process. Okay, the process of things. In this world where the success is often measured by tangible outcomes and the rewards, each and everything is measured in terms of tangible things and the rewards. The concept of Niskama Karma challenges us to shift our perspectives. Instead of fixing on the end of the result, Karma Yoga encourages us to focus on the process of action itself, not at the end outcome, rather on the process itself or the action itself. Which shifts its focus allows us to fully immerse ourselves in the present moment, encouraging wholeheartedly in our tasks without being preoccupied with the future outcome. So by embracing the process, we can experience a sense of flow and satisfaction in the act of doing, irrespective of these eventual outcomes and all. We are not interested in the outcomes, rather the way we do our actions the best, we perform our things best, we are not bothering such kind of things. Okay. So the exemplary illustrations of focusing on this process of action rather than fixing on the end result can be found in the life of this works of Karma Yoga. Or Gandhi's work also you can find. Throughout the life of Gandhi, he embodied the principles of Karma Yoga, emphasizing the importance of selfless actions and detachment from an outcome. One of the most iconic examples of this approach seen in his leadership of India's freedom struggle in the independence from British rule and all these things. So Gandhi understood an achievement of independence for India was a long and arduous journey, fought with challenges and the setbacks. Rather than becoming fixed on the end of the goals of attaining his freedom, Gandhi emphasized the importance of this process of nonviolent resilience and the civil disobedience as a means to achieve that goal. Gandhi actually encouraged Indians to engage in an act of non-violence protest, such as boycott strikes, peaceful marches to challenge the British rule, demonstrate independence, beliefs in the transformative power of these actions, not just achieving political liberation, but in instilling a sense of dignity, self-respect, unity among the Indian people. And throughout the struggle of independence, Gandhi urged his followers to focus on the process of non-violence resistance, regardless of the immediate outcome. Again, I repeat it, it is the process of non-violent resistance is more important than regardless of the immediate outcome. So therefore, the entire, nonviolence, education took so much time. He emphasized the importance of this, maintaining a kind of moral dignity or moral integrity even in the face of the adversity, and encourages the individuals to find a satisfaction and fulfillment in the acts of standing for justice and the truth. Despite facing numerous obstacles, experiences, setbacks among the way, Gandhi remains steadfast in his commitment to the process of non-violent resistance, and in the end, the unwavering commitment to the process of non-violent resistance, the instrumental in India's eventual independence in 1947. This example serves a powerful testament for transformative potential, focusing on the process of action, karma yoga, rather than fixating at the end result, achieving a meaningful and lasting changes. And another point is detachment from the success and the failure. Niskama karma teaches us to detach ourselves from these fruits of our actions, whether they leads to success or failures in a world driven by these achievements and the competitions. In the concept, this concept actually offers some kind of liberation from the anxiety, stress, and the fear of failure that often accompany any pursuit of success. So by relinquishing this attachment to outcome, we feel free, or rather we free ourselves from these burdens of expectations and allows ourselves to act with a greater spontaneity and creativity. So this detachment enables us to approach the challenges with resilience and equanimity, and knowing that our worth is not defined by external measures of success. The same thing, for example, of Yudhishthira from this Mahabharata illustrates the concept of relinquishing this attachment to outcomes and embracing the detachment to approach to challenges with resilience and equanimity. Throughout the epic, despite facing numerous trials and tribulations, one such instances which occurs during the gambling matches in the courts of Hastinapur, where this Yudhishthira loses. Just a minute. I'll just kindly yes, if you can. And just kindly just mute Lakshmi Priyaji. Yes, that would be good. Thank you. So, the one such instances which occurs during these gambling matches in the courts of Pandava and Kaurava in Hastinapur, where the Yudhishthira, which loses everything, including his kingdom, wealth, even his own freedom in the game of this dice, orchestrated by these Kauravas. Despite these immense personal losses and humiliations, he maintained his composure and refuses to sway away by the anger and despair. Instead, Yudhishthira demonstrates a profound detachment from the outcome of this game, and recognizing that his worth is not defined by the external measures of success or failure, he remains steadfast in his principles and the values, refusing to compromise his integrity for the sake of these worldly gains. Despite being exiled to the forest for 13 years and enduring various trials and tribulations, Yudhishthira remains steadfast in his commitment to righteousness and justice. His detachment allows him to focus on his duties and responsibilities as a leader, as a protector of dharma, rather than being consumed by the bitterness of or resentment towards his adversaries. So another point of these things is that the finding fulfillment in giving. Finding fulfillment in giving. At its core, Niskama Karma encourages us to find the fulfillment in its act of giving itself rather than in what we receive in return. This notion challenges and perceive this mindset of this transactional relationship where giving is often conditional, often receiving something in exchange. Most of our daily lives, we have like this. When we give something, we always expect something else has to be written to us. So this notion challenges a kind of, pervasive mindsets, that kind of transactional relationships where giving is often conditional upon receiving something in exchange. So by practicing a kind of selfless actions, we cultivate a sense of generosity, compassion, empathy towards the other. We derive joy and fulfillment from the simple act of contributing to the well-being of others, giving to others without expecting anything in return. In doing so, we tap into the deeper sources of happiness and meaning that transcends these material rewards. An example from the Upanishads that exemplifies the cultivation of generosity, compassion, and empathy, and through selfless action, is the story of the Shvetaketu from this Chandogya Upanishad. Shvetaketu, a young arrogant Brahmin, is sent by his father to study under the sage to gain this knowledge beyond his current understanding. So despite his initial pride, Shvetaketu undergoes a transformation journey and under the guidance of the sage Talaka. So during his time with the sage, Shvetaketu learns about the importance of the selfless actions, compassion towards the others. In one particular incident, the sage instructs Shvetaketu to water a barren tree and reports back to him what he sees. Shvetaketu beautifully waters the tree for several days, and eventually lush green leaves sprouts from these previously barren branches. Upon witnessing the transformation of this tree, Shvetaketu realizes the profound lessons imparted by the sage. He understands that just as the tree was reviving through his selfless acts of watering, individuals too can experience a kind of rejuvenation and growth through the act of kindness and compassion towards the others. And through this experience, the Shvetaketu cultivates a sense of generosity, compassion, empathy towards all the beings. He learned and derived joy and fulfillment from the simple act of contributing to the well-being of others without expecting anything in return. Okay. Now, another point which is of immense importance is Niskama karma is cultivating a kind of spiritual growth from the spirit, from a spiritual perspective. Niskama karma is seen as a path of self-realization and enlightenment. Okay. By renouncing this attachment to the fruits of our actions, we transcend the ego and ego-driven desires that binds us to the cycles of births and the deaths. Through selfless services and devotion to duty, we purify our minds and cultivate the virtues such as humility, compassion, and equanimity. Ultimately, Niskama karma leads us to the journey of the spiritual growth and liberation, where we realize our interconnectedness with all the beings and experience the profound joy of selfless love and service. So the concept of Niskama karma leading to spiritual growth, liberation is found in the story of Nachiketa from Katha Upanishad. Okay. And Nachiketa, a young boy, which demonstrates a profound understanding of selfless actions and detachment from their worldly desires. When his father inadvertently promises to donate him to the god of death, Yamaraj, as part of his sacrificial offering, Nachiketa willingly chosen to fulfill his father's vows despite the grave consequences. This act of sacrifice, through seemingly selfless and ultimately leading Nachiketa on his journey to spiritual discovery and enlightenment. When Nachiketa arrives in the abode of Yama, the god of death, he is offered a boon in the exchange for his sacrifices. Instead of requesting this worldly riches or material possessions, Nachiketa sees knowledge of the true nature of the self, the path to liberation from the cycle of birth and death. through his unwavering and commitment to selfless actions and detachment from personal desires, Nachiketa demonstrates the essence of Niskama Karma. So, how Karma Yoga underscores this interconnectedness of all the beings and offering solutions to contemporary challenges such as inequality, environmental degradation, and social justice. Another point of importance is the recognition of interconnectedness, how things are in Karma Yoga emphasizes the interconnectedness of all the beings and the universe at large. It teaches us to recognize that every actions that takes has a ripple effect that reverberates throughout the interconnected web of life. This interconnectedness extends beyond these human beings to encompass all the living creatures and their environment. So by acknowledging our interconnectedness, we develop a sense of responsibility and empathy towards others, fostering compassion and kindness in our interactions. Okay. So this interconnectedness emphasized in Karma Yoga is beautifully illustrated through examples that demonstrate how every action we take is a ripple effect that reverberates throughout the interconnected web of life. Consider the example of planting a tree, a mango tree, take any tree. So when an individual plants a tree, then they are not only contributing to the wealth of this environment, but also impacting to the lives of numerous other beings. The tree which provides oxygen for human beings, animals, serves as a habitat for birds and insects, helps regulate the climate, enriches the soil. In turn, the presence of the tree may attract other plants and the animals, further enhancing biodiversity in the ecosystems. Additionally, the shade provided by the tree may offer a spite to the individuals and the animals during hard, which contribute to their well-being. Thus, the seemingly small actions of planting a tree has far-reaching consequences that benefit the interconnected web of life. And all. A simple act, how it has been, changing the entire perspective, the entire ideas, entire life, what we do. Okay. Now, you can take another example, what can be found in the practice of sustainable agriculture. So the farmers, those who adopt sustainable farming practices, such as organic farming methods and crop rotation, not only protects the health of the soil and water, but supports the well-being of the surrounding ecosystems and the communities. By avoiding the use of these harmful pesticides and other chemicals, these farmers prevent pollutions of the water resources and protecting the health of these aquatic organisms. Even for us also, that is the same thing. Moreover, sustainable farming practices contribute to the preservation of biodiversity by creating habitats, by benefiting insects and these wildlife. Additionally, the process by producing the healthy and nutritious foods is an environmentally friendly manner. These farmers protecting the well-being and the consumers contribute to the overall health of the society. Thus, actions of the farmers practicing sustainable agriculture demonstrates how interconnectedness extends beyond the human beings to the encompass the environment and all the living creatures and all. In both the examples, this interconnectedness emphasizes in the Karma Yoga is evident. Every action we take, whether it is planting a tree or practicing sustainable agriculture, has a ripple effect that extends beyond ourselves and impact the border of web of life. So by acknowledging our interconnectedness and acting with a sense of responsibility and empathy towards the other, we can foster a kind of compassion and kindness in our interactions, contributing to the well-being of all the beings and, of course, the environment. And another point is compassion and empathy. The central to Karma Yoga is the cultivation of compassion and empathy towards all the living beings. By understanding that we are all interconnected and share a common humanity, as we are inspired to act with kindness and empathy towards the others, regardless of the differences such as race, religion, and social status. This compassion extends not only to the human beings, but also to the animals, plants, and even every part of this environment. By treating all the beings with respect and dignity, we contribute all the creations of more harmonious and compassionate world. Of course, we also address through inequalities these things in a world of plagued by inequality. Karma Yoga offers a kind of roadmap for building a more equitable society by recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every individual, regardless of their socio-economic status. Karma Yoga promotes social justice and inclusivity. And it encourages us to challenge the systems of oppression and privilege and work towards creating a society where everyone has the equal opportunity and thrive. Through acts of service and advocacy, Karma Yoga is striving to uplift the marginalized, empowered, those who are disenfranchised, by creating a more just and equitable world for all. One of the central themes, if you see Aurobindo's theories also, Aurobindo's interpretation of the Bhagavad Gita, it is the idea of Karma Yoga as the path of the social transformations and the justice. In his commentary on his Gita, Sri Aurobindo emphasizes that the importance of the action is performed in the spirit of selfless and dedication to the greater good. An example from Aurobindo's interpretation of this Gita illustrates this perspective in his commentary on the chapter 2 on the Sankhya Yoga, verse number 47, where the Lord Krishna says, you have the right to perform your duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. And okay, Aurobindo emphasizes that individuals should focus on performing their duties without attachment to the personal gain. Aurobindo's view, Karma Yoga is not just about individual spiritual growth, but also about the transforming society and promoting social justice. He argued that the true spiritual realization involves activity, engaging in efforts to uplift the marginalized and challenging systems of oppression and privilege. And for example, Aurobindo himself was deeply involved in the Indian independence and movement, advocated for social and political reforms aimed at achieving equality and justice for all the members of the society. He believed that Karma Yoga provides a framework for social activism, advocacy, where individuals could work towards creating a more just and equitable society through their actions. In this commentary on Gita, Aurobindo also emphasized the importance of the inner transformation as a prerequisite for social changes. He argues that individuals must cultivate qualities such as compassion, empathy, selflessness in order to effectively address the social injustice and inequality. Overall, Aurobindo's interpretation of the Bhagavad Gita highlights the transformative potential of this Karma Yoga in performing social justice and inclusivity. By recognizing the inherent worth and the dignity of every individual and working towards creating a more equitable society, Karma Yoga can contribute in building a world where everyone has the equal opportunity to thrive. And another point which will be of immense importance in this present context is that environmental stewardship. How the environment, it has an impact in Gita, and it can protect directly or indirectly to our environmental problems and all. Okay, so Karma Yoga also calls upon to act stewards of this environment, recognizing our interconnectedness with nature, our responsibility to protect and preserve it for future generations and all. And in a world grappling with environmental degradation and climate change, Karma Yoga offers a holistic approach to sustainability that goes beyond mere conservation efforts. By practicing mindful consumption and reducing our ecological footprints and advocating for policies that promotes a kind of environmental sustainability, we can mitigate the adverse effects of this human activity on the planet and ensure a healthier and more sustainable future for all of us, for all beings. Now, take for example Henry David Thoreau, in his Walden, the very famous thing, which serves a profound example of how the principles of Karma Yoga can be applied to environmental stewardship and sustainability. In the Walden, Thoreau chronicles his 2 years of experiment of living in a simple and a sufficient life in a small cabin near Walden Pond, immersed in nature. 2 years he has stayed and he has experimented on those things. And Thoreau's experiences that Walden Pond exemplifies the principles of Karma Yoga in environmental stewardship. He emphasized the interconnectedness between the humans and the nature, recognizing that our well-being is immediately tied to the health of this environment. Thoreau writes extensively about this beauty and the vitality of the nature world, urging readers to cultivate a deep sense of reverence and respect for nature. Throughout this world, Thoreau advocates for mindful consumption and sustainable living practices. He embraces a kind of minimalistic lifestyle, eschewing material possessions and all, and consumerism in favor of simplicity and self-sufficiency. Thoreau grew his own food, gathers these wild berries and the nuts, and builds his own furniture, and demonstrating how individuals can reduce their ecological footprint and live in harmony with nature. And Henry Thoreau's reflections on this importance of preserving these wilderness areas also resonate with the principles of Karma Yoga. He argues that the wild places serves as a sanctuaries for spiritual reward and the self-discovery, and advocates for their protection against the encroachment of human development. Thoreau's advocacy for environmental conservation reflects a deep sense of responsibility and towards the future generations, recognizing that our actions today will impact the well-being of those who come after us. So in Walden, Thoreau's commitments to environmental stewardship, sustainability, embodies a holistic approach to Karma Yoga. Actually, Karma Yoga provides a profound framework for addressing the contemporary challenges such as inequality, environmental degradation, social injustice, by recognizing our interconnectedness with all the beings and acting with compassion and empathy. We can build a more equitable and sustainable world where every individual and every creature can thrive. Okay. And so through selfless service and the commitment to the social environmental justice, Karma Yoga offers a kind of roadmap for creating a broader and more hopeful future for generations to come. Am I audible, or is there any problem in listening? Any doubt or something, so that we will continue again?
No, sir, please continue. Please continue. You are audible. We are enjoying. We are enjoying a lot.
All right. हिंदी में बोलना थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा, उड़िया तो थोड़ा बोल देंगे। इंग्लिश तो
हिंदी में अभी आप बोल सकते हैं, नो प्रॉब्लम।
हाँ, थोड़ा सिंपल इंग्लिश में बोल देंगे।
हाँ, ठीक है।
all the meanings of, because it's a scientific and social perspective. After telling all that 43 slokas of Karma Yoga and its meaning also, philosophical essence also, we'll explain you in the second half these things, so that it will give a very clear idea about how things are going to be. And now, so we will now see what is this philosophical interpretation of these things and all. It has a social implication, no doubt. Now we'll see what is this yoga of actions is all about. Why there is so much ideal things inside these things and all. Okay, so very clearly we will discuss it out, all the things. Okay, And so the yoga of actions, or the yoga, karma yoga, requires one to perform his actions for the pure reason that it is one's. This is, I'm just giving a philosophical analysis of these things. So the yoga of the actions actually needs or requires one of the to perform the actions for the pure reason that is one's duty, not for any kind of fruit or getting anything in the return, or rather it's the pure reason and without thinking of the outcome of that action. It is like helping an elderly person because it is one's duty, not because of the elderly person might help you or give you back, get elected to some kind of position or some kind of job, or rather it is just you are helping for the sake of helping again. And in the words of Gita, you can see, you can have the claim over your actions alone, never on the fruits of the action, and never live for the fruits of the actions or attach yourself to the inactions. Lord was speaking to Arjuna, "Oh Dhananjaya, perform your actions being firm in yoga, having abundant attachments, and be impartial to success and failures. For this equanimity is called yoga." Okay. And what is wrong with the attachment? Attachment to think and the people focuses us to act out of desire and selfishness, which continues our bondage. Impartiality or indifferences here does not mean, apathy or lack of concern, but rather when one knows the true nature of reality, one follows with unbiased and disinterested reasons to actions and all these things. Not that I will not do the actions, I'll be doing in a detached manner. And why we avoid inaction too? Simply because we cannot deny actions and all. As long as we are living on this earth, we have to act. Without actions, the body cannot sustain, the mind cannot sustain, the world cannot sustain, the universe. That is the basic nerve code of this universe. Its foundation is based on actions and all. Actions determines your existence, metaphysically, psychologically, and your actions are everything. And your karma, karma determines even our safe size, each and everything is determined our actions. It is our body's and nature, even when we think we are in deep sleep and therefore inactive, our heart and the kidneys are still functioning. And when Arjuna was asking to Lord Krishna, which one is better, the yoga of knowledge and renunciation of, or that is the renunciation of action, or the yoga of action, Krishna clarifies that while both delivers the same outcome, his performance is for the yoga of action, because enunciation is hard to attain without the yoga of actions and all. Okay, 5.6, it is the renounce. So it is, again, I'm just repeating, the performance in yoga of action becomes renounce. It's hard to attain without the yoga of action. So action is essential. Karma has a great importance in human life. In fact, on numerous occasions in the Gita, the yoga of action is repeatedly phrased and favored. The Gita's emphasis on the yoga of action underscores its author's proposed synthesis between orthodox and ritual and an Upanishadic focus and the complete enunciation of all these actions and all. What allows his synthesis is a unique extension of the law of karma and his transformation into the yoga of action. Thus, Krishna offers a two prolonged arguments for the yoga of actions. Okay. Krishna defends the right kind of action against the one hand and the overzealous advocates of the Vedic ritualism on the other. The propounders of this doctrine that all the acts should be given up. This argument is at once simple and the complex, and because he finds causes to propose that action is both necessary and unproductive of rebirth complex, because of the attempts to hold on the orthodoxy of the social actions while revolutionizing it from within, and at the same time to demolish the heterodoxy of reunion and the price without discarding the values of it. In spite of all its seemingly simplicity of the goal of non-attached actions presents a paradox to philosophers. The Gita appears inconsistent since on the one hand, it recommends non-attached actions because they ultimately deliver us from bondage, but it also wants us to perform our actions without any desire for the goal or outcome. Now, if I quote Arindam Chakravarti, one of the writers, which clarifies that Gita and the Immanuel Kant's, who has written the deontological ethics, can both be taken to ask us not to act for the sake of happiness or ultimate deliverance, but to act from the duty for being worthy of happiness, or with the hope, but not desire for it. Okay, and still, if the Gita is asking us to perform actions without desire, then that is the psychology of such actions, especially given our ordinary understanding of voluntary actions as originating in the desires or intentions. Is Gita asking to renounce and hence refrain from the actions altogether? As noted previously, the Gita clearly rejects this reading, not only because complete renunciation of action is impossible given the nature of this physical universe that includes psychophysical complex of this human body, but also because the Gita seems to argue the prescribed actions should be performed for the maintenance of the social order and stability. Thus, the Gita does not ask us to renounce action, but only our attachment to the fruits of such actions has to be renounced. This allows the Gita to maintain this position in a theorization of agency and using its metaphysics of the gunas. In this behavioral analysis of these actions, agency itself is theorized away. Thus, Gita argues the causes of the action is never an independent human being, but it always the Prakriti, the material world as a whole, for which any individual person is an arbitrary subsection. So the teleological view of action as initiated and owned by individual is a mistake. Okay. Another dimension of this metaphysics is realizing the determinism that follows from the Prakriti, because no one indeed can exist even for a moment without performing action. For everyone is helplessly made to act by the gunas, all those three gunas. They act inside and they are out of Prakriti. Action is inevitable because it is the material nature of the Prakriti that acts through the power of the past actions, which compels the future actions as a result. But in this metaphysics, one might argue, lies the problems of psychology. The fact that the Purusha or the self, the Atman, is argued to be the unchanging and unchangeable makes it impossible for it to participate in this machinery of action. In laying out the steps of practicing the yoga of the actions, the Gita requires us to make the intellect or the buddhi or the unitary and the concentrated usually. But since the entire mental complex, including the intellect, operates within the domain of Prakriti for the Gita, if Prakriti governs the actions and the actions that Arjuna will do, then it must also govern whether or not we will do these actions without attachment. Okay. And so Arjuna has a little control over this attachment to actions as actions themselves. Thus, in spite of the emphasis on this Gita placed on the yoga of non-attachment actions, the only way out is to realize that our mental states, internal tune of our experience is like our actions. Absolutely none of our business. However, this deterministic clause is by no means the only or the most preferred reading over the commentators of the scholars of the Gita. So Abhinavagupta, actually 20 or the 10th century commentators from the Kashmiri Saivat editions emphasized that instead of, adopting the sharp dualism between Prakriti and Purusha, so that determinism that follows, there is a way to resolve the impasse between the Prakriti determinism and voluntary actions. Whether everything is driven by the Prakriti or we have something that we wish to do certain actions from ourselves. So by choosing to offer one's action to something other than the one, to Krishna, one who is able to attain this dual consciousness of Krishna as the timeless and the Brahman as well as the actor with the world creator of Dharma. So furthermore, Abhinav Gupta, actually he says, as parts of Shiva, the says is Shiva's freedom and the power to self-determinism and all these things. Okay. So the possibility of this reading also follows from the fact that, Krishna contains that Prakriti and Purusha are the two aspects of this nature, not two irreducible categories. Okay, so this is one thing I always, okay. So another thing is this chapter 3, this Karma Yoga, introduces action, concludes that Krishna articulating in detail the characteristics of a person whose mind is firmly established in yoga. Virtues like self-control, serenity, and relinquishment of desire were highlighted. Arjuna's opening questions in the chapter 3 assumes that these virtues are inherently cultivated through knowledge, and thus asks, if that is the case, then why is Krishna asking him to engage in the violent actions? This is the main question in the 3rd chapter of killing his near and dear ones. In response, Lord Krishna clarifies that the nature of this yoga of action, more specially, he outlines the sources of the actions and considers the viability of actionlessness and the relation between action and attachment, between the agency and the individuality, and in the process, the grammar of selfless and non-selfish action done as pure sacrifice, or action performed without attachment is explained. So Lord Krishna also emphasized that virtues like self-control and relinquishment of desire are essential aspects of attributes that promotes the self-realization and thereby enabling selfless actions and all. Okay. Now, so this is the entire gist and all these things. So the 43 slokas are extremely important. Now we'll see that how it moves these 43. So the first sloka, okay, Arjuna Uvacha, okay. So, O Janardana, if you consider knowledge to be the superior to actions, then, oh handsome haired one, why do you enjoin me to this violent actions and all? If you are thinking knowledge is so important, why you are doing? This is the first sloka of the 3rd chapter. And this is apparently opposed to the statement of your own, confusing my understanding. So tell me the one definitive truth by which I may achieve the best. And this is the Arjuna's question and all. And the Krishna, Bhagavan Uvacha, the Krishna, the blessed one, said, oh blameless one, the Arjuna, earlier I taught that there are 2 paths in this world, the yoga of knowledge, okay, of the followers of discrimination, that means philosophers, and the yoga of the action, or the followers of actions and all. So 2 types of things. A man does not attain actionlessness by abstaining from action. So this is the 3rd one. So the man who does not attain actionlessness by abstaining from action, nor does he attain perfection by mere enunciation. This is the 4th. Okay. And the 5th one says, no one indeed can exist even for a moment without performing action, for everyone is helplessly made to act by the gunas born out of Prakriti. Whatever we do, it will spring out of this, the personality, this way or that way. So actions we cannot be without action. So restraining the organs of the acting one who sits dwelling on the sense object in his mind, he is said to be the self-deluded hypocritic. This is the sixth one. So one has to do the exercise. The seventh one, he says, "O Arjuna, but he who controlling the senses by the mind, engaging the organs of action, is the yoga of action without attainment." Okay, excel. Okay, and perform your requirements. In the 8th sloka, in the 8th verse, he says, "Perform your required duties, for action is better than inaction. Even the maintenance of your own body is not possible without action." Action is something which is the most important thing. Okay, and in the 9th, he says, Arjuna, people are bound by action unless it is done as a sacrifice. And so perform your actions for that purpose, being free from the attachment. No, action has to be done. It has to be. Now, towards the 9th action, from 8th, again, when we went towards the 9th, he says that you detach yourself from such kind of activities. So in the beginning, after the creating the living, in the 10th verses, it says, after creating the living beings, along with the sacrifices, Prajapati, the primordial creator side, by sacrificing, you will procreate, and let this sacrifice be the wishing granting cow that brings you fulfillment if your all desires. Is the 10th sloka. So, and the 11th says, the nourish the gods with the sacrifice, so that these gods may nourish you. Very beautiful sloka. And by sustaining one another, you will attain the highest God and all these things. Just reciprocal kind of things and all. Nourish. So nourish them. So the sacrifice, when you do that, even comes back to you, nourishes you. Okay. So in the 12th also the similar thing. The nourishing by the sacrifice, the gods will certainly give you the delights you desire. But he who enjoys these gifts without giving to them in return is merely a thief. This is the 12th sloka and all these things. So most of the greediness and all these things, acquiring things without giving back to the divine, is a thief. It is the 12th sloka. So the righteous one, the who eats the remnants of the sacrifices, offering to the Lord, and all everything is belong, the freed from all the sins, but he unrighteous, who prepares the foods for themselves alone, greedy, selfish, and eats the food of the sin. This is the 13th sloka. The 14th says the creatures come into the being from food. Food arises. Food arises from the rain. Rain comes from the sacrifices, and it is the sacrifice which originates in actions and all. It is the sacrifice. The importance of the sacrifices is mentioned and discussed in the 14th sloka. So in the 15th, know what the action arises from Brahmanas, while so the Brahman springs from the imperishables. Therefore, all pervading Brahman is ever established in the sacrifice, the role of the sacrifice, importance of the sacrifice. In the 15th sloka, it is there. In the 16th and 17th, it says, Arjuna, he who does not follow this world, the field, thus sets revolving, is sinful, delighting in the sense he lives in vain. But the man who finds delight in the 17th sloka is the self. Light is the self alone, is satisfied in the self, and who finds contentment only in the self. For him, there is nothing more to be done on all these things. He is a realized soul. He is a realized one in the 17th. Neither has any profit to gain in this life from the actions he has done, and from the actions he has not done. Does his purpose depends on any other features? 18th sloka. And the 19th sloka follows. So therefore, always perform any action that must be done without any attachment. For by performing action without attachment, a person achieves the highest. Hey Arjuna, you have to do perform your actions without any attachment. That is the goal of life. The similar things, the Loka Sangraha, he has spoke in the 20th sloka, and about the Janaka and the other people attained perfection by action alone. So moreover, recognizing the needs, even for the welfare of the world, you must perform actions and all these things. 20th sloka. Look, so actions are important and all. Whatever a great man does, the very same is also done by the others. So whatever stands, he sets, the world follows it, is the 21st. In the 22nd verse, it is written, there is no action in the three worlds that I must do. O son of, means Arjuna, nor is there anything left to be attained, yet I still continue. That the Lord was telling to Arjuna, okay, there is nothing in this world. I am the omnipotent, omnipresent, the highest reality. Everything is possible for me. I can wish anything I want, I can do on this earth. Still, from the morning to evening, okay, I do action and all. Okay. Still, I continue these actions and all. Even I being the highest, means Lord Krishna says, I being the, Lord of the entire universe, still I am continue my actions and all. Okay, this is the 22nd. In the 23rd also, it's a continuation of that. But if I did not always engage in action ceaselessly, Arjuna, the man would follow my path, and that every turn and all these things. Even after telling so much thing about the actions, people do not follow about the actions and all. So has to follow. So Krishna becomes a, everlasting. It's a lifelong example following which one, 23 number. And the 24th sloka, he says, those worlds will collapse if I do not perform actions. Now you understand the foundation of the world is not material. Even the spiritual worlds also, everything is actions. So those worlds will collapse if I do not perform action. I would be the agent of this confusion in the society, would destroy these beings and all. Action is everything. And the right kind of action, attached action. Hence, it is the 24th is more important. As the ignorant, in the 25th, he says, as the ignorant act with the attachment to actions and all. So the wise should act, but without any attachment, for the welfare of the whole world. Okay. Okay. Welfare of the whole world. For everyone. 25th sloka is most important. Okay. So in the 26th also, extension of that, let the wise man not cause confusion in the minds of the ignorant man who are attached by action. By acting with a discipline, let the wise brings them to the enjoy all these actions and all. Okay. So here lies the wise one and the normal persons. And so in the 27th also, actions are in every case performed by the gunas of Prakriti, or gunas, three gunas and all. But he who minds is deluded by the sense of I, thinks I am the agent and all. This is the most confusing illusion things and all. We think I am doing the actions. It is not I am doing. It is the propelling, the gunas are throwing things, propelling things, making us do the actions and all. In 28th sloka, he says, O Arjuna, O mighty armed Arjuna, he who knows the truth about the separation of the self from both the gunas and their actions, knowing that gunas act on gunas, remains unattached. This is the Sankhya philosophy. Entire 28th, it is there. It is the separation of Prakriti and Purusha, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Okay, similar things which are there. So the 29th, it is written, those deluded by the gunas of Prakriti are attached to their actions. A man of perfect knowledge should not disturb those dull man of imperfect knowledge. 29th. So surrounding all the actions to me, okay, or rather surrendering all the actions to me and focusing your mind on the Supreme Self, Sarvadhamam Paritij, and freed from the longing and possessiveness, delivered from the fever, fight the battle and all these things. Leave everything to me, surrender all things. It is you are doing for me that is more important. The 30th sloka. 31st, those who constantly follow this doctrine of mind, trusting it without complaining, are the liberated from the bondages of the action. But how he has explained these things. And those who constantly follow this doctrine of mind, trusting it without complaining, are also abundance of these actions. 31, 32, 32nd says, those who find fault and do not follow my doctrine and know them to be deluded about all the knowledge, doomed and becomes mindless. In the 33, he says, even a wise person acts in accordance with his own nature, and creatures follow their own nature. What will restrain the accomplishment? Now look how beautifully he has explained these things and all in the wise. So in the 34th aphorism or 34th verse, it is written, the attraction and the hatred of each senses are located in the object of that sense experience. One must not come under the control of these two, for both indeed are enemies lurking on his path. It's okay. So one must be away from those things. So once one dharma done imperfectly is better than performing one's dharma well. So better to die in one's own dharma. Okay, swadharma or another's dharma is perilous and all. Paradharma bhaya. Okay, so so this is that 35th sloka, which is very common. Often people saying about this sloka. Now, in the 36th sloka, Arjuna was asking, what impels a person to commit sin? Why one commits sin, even involuntarily, if he compels by the forces? Oh, Vaishnava, he was asking, okay, to Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is also called Vaishnava. Okay, so the blessed one, the Lord Krishna says, it is the desire, it is the anger rising from the gunas of passions, all consuming and most sinful. Know it as the enemy here. It is the desire, it is the anger on this earth creates problem. It's in the 37th sloka, Lord Krishna was very, very important. All your activity, all problems in the world, it is because of our anger and because of our desire, it comes and all its passions. So as if, and in 38th number sloka, Lord says, as fire is obscured by smoke and the mirror by dirt, as an embryo is covered by its own cowl, so is the knowledge is obscured by desire and anger. And in the 39th, he says, knowledge is obscured by its constant enemy of the wise man, which takes the form of desire and in insatiable fire. And desire and anger are the most problematic in the 39th. So the senses, the mind, the understanding are said to be its desire seat. Having obscured knowledge with this is deluded the dwellers in the body. The embodied self is the 40th sloka. Okay, and the 41 is therefore Arjuna, having first restrain your senses, healing is sinful, the destroyer of theoretical and practical knowledges and all. Okay. And in the 42, the senses, they say, are superior to their objects. Higher than the senses is the mind, but higher than the mind is the intellect, and while higher than the intellect is the self, the unconditional self, the Atman is the higher, the 42nd. And the last sloka says, knowing that which is higher, the intellect, sustaining the self with the self, oh, mighty armed, kill the enemies in the form of desire that is difficult to subdue. And what a profound philosophy, profound connectivity, all things connects and explains. So they are the desires and all this. You kill them, subdue. Okay. It's very difficult to subdue. It has a more symbolic meaning than the word what is fought over there and all these things. Okay. Now, so we can have a few philosophical considerations of this third chapter. Okay. Is there any question?
अगर प्रश्न पूछना चाहते हैं सर को तो पूछ सकते हैं अभी.
If they want, they can do it. Otherwise, we will continue discussion.
अगर किसके मन में कोई डाउट हो, शंका हो, पूछना चाहते हैं तो सर क्लियर कर सकते हैं.
We will just
Hello,
discuss.
sir. Namaste, sir.
Namaskar, namaskar.
I have a question that why one commits sin? You have told right now, and kindly explain again, sir. Why one commits sin?
Okay.
Papa.
So, one commits. See, there are two things. Ajay, the third chapter, it is the anger and desire are the two things, and these two things keeps on creating, and there is so much attachment is there. We perform our actions out of either there will be a kind of passion which actually evolves from desire. Now the thing is, if someone says, if I love rasgola and all these things, some people, they love so much the sweets, and all the moment they will come to know there is a party in the campus. Normally, every day there is a party in these IIT campuses, and so people do not go. But some people, those who, if we inform them, no, party mein such and such kind of food is there where he likes and all, so the desire propels him to go there and do the things and all. So people have different types of desire which will lead to greediness, and it can go even when it doesn't get fulfilled, which can even lead to anger. So anger and greediness and desire keeps on multiplying. It's a kind of permutation and combination gives various types of thoughts and all these things, where the end product is not detached actions, it's rather an action which an attachment leads to a kind of sin. We commit sin because we have attachment. We have attachment to different physical things and different activities. No. So attachment is the not code of all these things. Lower.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, in context of your lecture, you have referred to Professor Arindam Chakraborty. What was the concept? What was the context? I really missed it out, so I would like you to repeat it.
Actually, the Immanuel Kant, the 17th century, great Western philosopher, and his deontological concepts and all, he has given that we do not do our actions, perform our actions for the sake of doing action, okay? And we do not do most of our cases and all. What we do, we perform our action because the actions are going to give us good result. Okay, we feel we go and study because we want to get a degree. We send our children to schools because the children are going to get things. Okay, we construct the house because we want to stay in the house all the time. There is a kind of consequence. There is an end product is there. Suppose the end product is not there, then we normally do not have any interest to the actions. We always expect something in the result. Okay, now Arindam Chakraborty ji says, and the Kantian is like this. We must not do the actions. Now, I'll give you an example. Okay, one good example which will explain you the things. Now, over here in this IIT, because it was School of Mines, here the petroleum engineering is considered as one of the best, mining and petroleum, all the earth sciences. Now, take for example, there will be an advertisement which will come that, look, petroleum department is excellent, and petroleum, the professors are good, and the people, those who they have a good labs, their books are excellent, infrastructure is good, each and everything is good. But in the down there is a small line will come, petroleum as an mineral got over from the earth. वो earth से खत्म हो गया petroleum, so नौकरी नहीं मिलेगा. You won't get a job. And do you think anyone is going to study petroleum engineering after doing their IIT JEE? IIT pass करके कोई पढ़ेगा? कोई नहीं पढ़ेगा, क्योंकि because petroleum is over, there are no jobs, the end product is not there. Why should we study petroleum? Okay, so we study. So it shows most of our people, what we do our actions because the end product, we expect that certain things has to come in the end. Okay. Immanuel Kant says, as per Arindam Chakravartiji's things and all, he says, Immanuel Kant's theory is that we must not do action by looking at the end product and all these things. Rather, we should think deontologically. The action contains as such the truth in it. Action has the intrinsic value. Action doesn't depend on the end for its goodness and the badness. The right and wrong of the action is the action itself contains and all. You know, if I need to help somebody, I must help out of goodwill because the action is good, not that it has to give me something in return at last. We help somebody who has met an accident on the road, not we help that once the person becomes good, okay, or his health recovers, he has to give me something. No, we don't do in that way. Normally, we take that person to the hospital, help him and all these things because it is out of goodwill, out of my inner integrity, my thought, my everything. We think that no, doing a good kind of actions, probably it is the right things we do. So the actions, so that is called deontological actions. He was telling in Gita also speaks of action in a detached manner. Means it is more of a deontological thing. See, I must speak this, that, the entire Kantian things, the main Kantian ethics is already present in Bhagavad Gita. What a beautiful doctrine is there. Follow the Bhagavad Gita, our lifestyle will totally change. To change it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
और किसके मन में कोई अगर शंका हो तो सर को पूछ सकते हैं। सर एक चीज सर मेरे मन में से एक शंका है सर, माने
हाँ सर,
ये माने ना पढ़ने के कारण है जो जो अभी आप जो बताए हैं, जो शैविज्म व शैव भाव को लेके जो टीका किया गया है भगवद गीता का, उसी में क्या एकदम शिव परक है ना विष्णु परक है? थोड़ा कंसेप्ट के विषय में पूछ रहा हूँ।
हाँ, नहीं, I understand these things and no, this was actually this Abhinav Gupta's interpretation. Okay.
Yeah.
Abhinav Gupta has, he is because Prakriti and Purusha concept is there. Okay, and he was speaking these things in that case. So therefore, I was explaining. Okay, it is the Prakritic determinism and voluntary actions. Whether everything is determined, whether even if we don't want, the action will automatically come, or it is voluntary. Whether we have a freedom to choose the type of actions what we wanted to do. Okay, now, and it is the by choosing to offer one's actions by something other than oneself. Okay, to Brahman or to Krishna, or when one is able to attain this dual consciousness of Krishna times Brahman, so this concept, it is Saivites also say that way. But what I personally feel in our actions, whatever we do, it is in the larger broad paradigm and the framework, things are fixed, things are more deterministic, but inside there is some kind of freedom is there, a little bit freedom, maybe the lower level, and we can do it. But ultimately it is the Prakriti, it is the gunas which propel us, and for action and all. We feel that we are doing the actions. It is depending on our own conditioning, our attachment. The Prakriti throws us the type of actions what we will be doing. So it is not we are doing. We always say that if there is any good work, we shall, yes, हम इसको हम किए, actually it is not हम, it is the situation and everything, many other factors in behind are responsible for such kind of actions. Okay. Thank you.
एक हाँ, कोई हाथ उठाए हैं, नाम क्या मैं पढ़ नहीं पा रहा हूँ, आप पूछ सकते हैं। अच्छा,
प्रणमामि आचार्यः।
हाँ,
मम एकः लघुसंशयः अस्ति। ब्रह्मज्ञानं जातं चेत् अहं तु ममत्वभावः न तिष्ठति। भगवतः तु ब्रह्मज्ञानं जातं, तथापि तत्र भगवद्गीतायाम् 18 अध्याये उक्तं, श्रीकृष्णः कथयति सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य ममेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुच। अहं तो भावः अपि अस्ति, अत्र ममत्व भावः अपि अस्ति, तर्हि भगवतः ब्रह्मज्ञानं न जातं वा?
Okay. Anyway, probably 50% of the things I understood. If it's someone can a little bit tell these things in English or Hindi, it would be a little better for me to understand.
हाँ, ये शांति बोल देता है आपको प्रश्न।
हाँ, yes, please.
भगवान ने पहले बोला कि जो अहंता और ममता से वर्जित है वही मुक्त है, यही तो पहले से ही भगवान बोल चुके हैं। और लास्ट जो अध्याय है मोक्ष संन्यास योग 18 अध्याय, उसमें भगवान अंत में जाके बोला कि सर्वधर्मान परित्यज्य मामेकम शरणं भज। one should shelter.
No problem. I'm understanding. Yes.
इसलिए उसका प्रश्न है कि भगवान अपने से आपने बोला कि मेरे को ही शरण में आ जाओ, इसमें भगवान के ही वो जो अहंता का प्रकाश मिला है उधर से, इसका समाधान क्या है? भगवान का मोक्ष नहीं हुआ क्या? यही।
Tell me the question again in English or last sentence.
Sir, I can solve this question.
Actually वो पूछना चाहते हैं कि भगवान रहे हैं कि मैं तुमको समस्त मेरे शरण में अगर आ जाओगे तो मैं तुमको सब पाप से मुक्त कर दूंगा।
yes.
हाँ, भगवान जो अहं परक जो हुआ है, तो इसका मतलब भगवान खुद को अहं बोल रहे हैं। ये मुख्यदायिनी है, ये मुख्यदायक है कि नहीं, यही थोड़ा शंका है।
Okay, all right. See, over here, people think that, sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam saranam bhaja. So, if you leave everything, other things means, mera saran means you have to follow the entire Bhagavad Gita. All the 18 chapters, whatever is written, Bhagavan is not telling that you follow. More mera saran means you have to follow all the things, all the principles, doctrines, whatever is written in Bhagavad Gita is the truth. It is not, saran means not going to the feet. It is a symbolic way. In some of the pictures it has shown that Lord Krishna is there and Arjuna is there. It is, saran means the following, that all the doctrines, all the principles, the rules and the regulations, whatever the Bhagavad Gita says. So that is called, and it is the cosmic principle itself will work out to save you and give you that liberation. Okay, so the concept of liberation, what we really understand in a normal way of life, it is not. See, the Ramakrishna says, see the Parabrahman, even the gods also cannot understand what is called Parabrahman. It's upper, because we are at the level of there is a dimensional problem is there. It's a different operation in a multi different dimension altogether, what we cannot understand, all those things. So Lord says it is the cosmic principle itself will take out, because everything is enumerated in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so mera saran mein aa jao means you follow the Gita, okay, the total Gita. And he was telling all the principles of Gita, anyone follows, it will automatically take you to liberation in that detached manner. So that is the essence of these things. Okay. And he is personified for Arjuna. It's a different thing. But the thing is, he cannot deny all the 18 chapters, more than 700 slokas, whatever he spoke. He cannot, he says all those things has to be followed. These are the essence of human life, existence, and the entire world's foundation about these things, sir. Thank you. Is that okay?
और किसके मन में कोई अगर शंका हो तो सर तब एंड करें।
As you
हाँ। तो आज हम लोगों को प्रोफेसर अजित कुमार बेहुरा सर के द्वारा एक दिव्य भव्य आलोचना का साक्षात्कार हम सबने किए। यही साक्षात्कार कराने के लिए सर्वप्रथम हम हमारे विश्वविद्यालय के आदरणीय कुलपति साहब आचार्य श्रीनिवास बरखेड़ी जी को सत सत प्रणाम करते हैं महाविद्यालय परिवार की ओर से, क्योंकि उनका आशीर्वाद से ही हम लोग यही वर्कशॉप कर पा रहे हैं। और हम लोगों के जो रजिस्ट्रार साहब हैं आदरणीय प्रोफेसर मुरली जी, उनको भी सत सत नमन करते हैं। और हमारा महाविद्यालय परिवार के जो अभिभावक हैं प्रोफेसर सुब्रमण्यम शर्मा जी, प्रबंधन समिति के अध्यक्ष हैं, उनके सौजन्य से, उनके आशीर्वाद से जो हम लोग आज इसको कर पा रहे हैं, उनकी इसके लिए भी उनको भी सत सत नमन करते हैं। और सर्वोपरि जो साक्षात भगीरथ तुल्य ये गीता ज्ञान को हम लोगों के सामने ले आने का बीड़ा उठाए हैं, वो है हमारा आदरणीय प्राचार्य प्रोफेसर सोमेश कुमार मिश्रा जी। उनको भी महाविद्यालय परिवार की ओर से हम लोग सत सत नमन करते हैं। और आज हम लोगों के साथ जो वक्ता के रूप में उपस्थित हुए हैं, केवल भारत में नहीं अपितु अमेरिका आदि देश में जो भारत का, भारतीय दर्शन का यथार्थ रूप में प्रसार करने वाले हैं प्रोफेसर अजित कुमार बेहुरा साहब हैं। वो आज जिस प्रकार हम लोगों को सहज एवं सरल रूप में भगवत गीता का नाना प्रकार इंटरप्रिटेशन दिए हैं, अभिनव गुप्ता से लेकर अरिंदम चक्रवर्ती तक, रामकृष्ण परमहंस से लेकर हम लोगों को अरविंद तक, एवं मुंडकोपनिषद से लेकर कठोपनिषद तक, एवं कृष्ण यजुर्वेद से लेकर आधुनिक विज्ञान तक सारा विषय को सामंजस्य करके जिस प्रकार दिव्य भव्य स्व विषय को उपस्थापन किए, इसीलिए महाविद्यालय परिवार की ओर से सर हम लोग आपको सत सत नमन करते हैं। आपका दीर्घ जसयुक्त निरामय जीवन कामना करते हैं। महाविद्यालय परिवार आपको इन फ्यूचर इस तरह का हर प्रकार का कार्यक्रम में सम्मिलित होने का आशा आपसे हम लोग रखते हैं। इसीलिए पूरा कार्यक्रम में हम लोग एंजॉय किया आपको, इसीलिए बार बार महाविद्यालय परिवार की ओर से हम लोग आपको धन्यवाद और प्रणाम ज्ञापन करते हैं। और सर्वोपरि जो जिसके लिए जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स के लिए ये सभा है, वो लोग भी आज एंजॉय किए। एंजॉय तब होता है, किसी ग्रंथ का महत्व तब प्रकटित होता है जब वो ग्रंथ के ऊपर ज्यादा टीका टिप्पणी हो, तब वो ग्रंथ का महत्व प्रकटित होता है। उसी प्रकार वही लेक्चर व वही भाषण का महत्व तब प्रकटित होता है जब वही भाषण के ऊपर दो चार प्रश्न हो। अगर प्रश्न ना हो, इसका अर्थ है कोई समझता नहीं है, कैसे बस खत्म हो जाए, इसी उद्देश्य में लोग रहते हैं। लेकिन सर आपके भाषण के बाद इतना प्रश्न आया, इतने प्रश्न आने का मतलब यही था कि आपको लोग इतना एंजॉय किए पार्टिसिपेंट्स, इसीलिए पार्टिसिपेंट्स को भी जो प्रश्न किए सबको भी महाविद्यालय परिवार की ओर से हम यथायोग्य स्नेह संभाषण ज्ञापन करते हैं। इस प्रकार हम लोग फिर मिलेंगे नेक्स्ट सेशन में 2:30 बजे। तो तब तक हम लोगों का जो मध्याह्न भोजन विरति है, और सर्वोपरि और एक चीज अगर ना बोलूं तो वो ये हो जाएगा, इस कार्यक्रम का जो यथार्थ संचालक हैं, जो रात दिन एक करके जो संचालन कर रहे हैं, वो हमारे अग्रज हैं, इस महाविद्यालय के अन्यतम स्तंभ हैं, वो हैं आदरणीय डॉक्टर स्वदेश रंजन घोषाल साहब। तो उनको अगर धन्यवाद ना दिया जाए तो उनको धन्य करके हम बात देना भी नहीं चाहते हैं। वो ऐसे ही धन्य है और हम लोगों के साथ हैं, और उनके लिए ही आज इतना बड़ा कार्यक्रम हो पाया, और वो इतना रात दिन एक करके लगे हैं, इसीलिए उनको भी धन्यवाद देते हैं। और उनके साथ उनका जो पूरा टीम, शांति, लोकनाथ, ये राजेश्वर जी, अपराधी, श्यामादा, एंड पूरा एंटायर सीताराम फैमिली सबको हम धन्यवाद देते हैं। इज